Shall we admit them?
Mm-hmm. Welcome, everybody. We're just letting some folks in off of the waiting room, so we'll be getting started in just a minute. Okay. It looks to me like most people have joined at this point, so we'll go ahead and get started. And then advisors, could you just keep your eye on the wait list and let people in as they come? Thank you. Well, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us this morning. I know it's early for many, and especially early maybe depending on what time zone you're in at the moment. So wherever you are tuning in from, we are happy to get to chat with you today and share some information that we hope will be helpful as you are beginning your journey at UC Davis and within psychology, philosophy, cognitive science, and or science and technology studies specifically. My name is Melina Gillies Doherty. I'm the undergraduate programs manager for this cluster of majors. My pronouns are she, her, hers, or they, them, theirs. And we're going to start with doing some introductions. We've got a bunch of our fabulous advising staff here. So we'll introduce ourselves, and then you all will have a chance to introduce yourselves as well a bit later, because we would love to give everybody a chance to meet some fellow incoming students. So for our advising team, we'll be introducing ourselves with their names, our pronouns, our hometowns, and a hobby that we enjoy. So my hometown is Redding, California. It's in Northern California, a few hours north of Davis. It's kind of close to Mount Shasta. So I grew up looking at that mountain all the time, which feeds into one of my hobbies, which is really doing anything outdoors. Redding was a great place growing up to do outdoor activities. There are lakes for kayaking or swimming, lots of hiking trails, mountain climbing. So I love camping, hiking, anything outdoors. And Davis is a really great place with nice nature walks just within Davis, and then a lot of hiking in the area for anyone else who's interested. And then Alyssa, do you want to introduce yourself next?
Yes, thank you. Hey everyone, my name's Alyssa McGorian. I use she, her, hers pronouns, and I grew up in the small Central Valley town of Patterson in California. And one of the hobbies that I have is planting and growing plants. And so whenever we're in person and you come to my office, you'll see that I'll have a ton of plants in there. I think it just brings a lot of kind of calm vibes to the office. So, all right, I'll kick it off to the next advisor, Kristen.
Hello, everyone. My name is Kristen. I use she, her, or they, them pronouns. I grew up in many places, I guess. So I was born in the Philippines, then I moved to Singapore. And then when I got to high school, I moved to the US. So I've been everywhere, a lot of hometowns. I guess one of the things I like to do in my spare time is play music. I do like to play guitar, and I do like to sing, though I don't claim to be good at either of those two things. I'll pass it on to Jillian.
Hi everyone, my name is Jillian. My pronouns are she, her, and my hometown is Corona, California, which is a city outside of Riverside, Inland Empire, Southern California area. One of my hobbies is rock climbing. I go to a climbing gym out in Sacramento. And also my background is the quad, which is outside of the Memorial Union, which is close to our building, which we'll show you pictures of later on. And then the next advisor.
Hello, my name is Rachel Hale. I am originally from Vallejo, California, which is very far North Bay, so not too far from here. I am more of an indoor enthusiast, so I really enjoy reading and watching movies. And I'm also a happy planner, so I really love using my planner, and I have all the stickers and accessories and everything. So I find that really fun. I use she, her pronouns, and my background is the quad also. It's the hammocks. So usually they're occupied, but if you can find an unoccupied hammock, it's a really nice place to hang out when it's summer, spring, summer. Did I cover everything? I think so. All right, Stacy.
Hi, I'm Stacy. I go by she, her as well. And I'm from Lodi, California. It's a smaller town in the Central Valley. We're known for grapes. And one of my hobbies, especially during the pandemic, has been audiobooks. I kind of got turned on to them, and it's really fun listening to one narrator do 20 different voices. So I'm having fun with that, especially with a family book club that I'm in. We're reading Agatha Christie, Miss Marple books right now. And the picture behind me is in the neighborhood of the Quad on campus. It's also the neighborhood that your major advising building is located. So over to the right in the picture, there's an old-fashioned house that's been converted into a campus department. It's called South Hall. And where we are located, Young Hall, is just over yonder. You can't quite see it in the picture, but it's definitely in this neighborhood. And I just think it's very quaint and cozy. I love campus.
Okay, and thank you for those introductions. And also thank you to all of our fabulous new transfer students for bearing with us as we're just getting our technology all sorted. We also have some fabulous peer advisors joining us today. We'll actually have them introduce themselves in just a little bit in case any of them are still joining this meeting. So we'll come back to them. But before we do that, we have a poll that we wanted to launch just to kind of get a sense of where everyone is tuning in from today, or like where is your hometown? Jillian, all right. So go ahead and select whatever best describes where you're from. All right, we have 84% of the votes in. Can participants see the results as they're coming in? No, right?
Yeah, once you end poll, I think.
Yeah. Okay, well, 96% of people have voted, which is really great. More participation than I was thinking, but this is the kind of participation I personally enjoy at 9:15 in the morning. So let's go ahead and end poll so we can show the results. Oh, and actually I'm not seeing them right now. Jillian, are you able to see them? Aha, there we go. Okay, so as we see, it looks like most folks who are here are hailing from Northern California, with a good contingency from Central and Southern California. No one from outside of California. I'm kind of surprised about that. We do have students in our majors from states within the US outside of California, but not here this morning. And then 5 folks from outside the US. Awesome. Thank you for joining us, all of you. It's very exciting to get to be here with you. Okay, so I know a question on everyone's mind is what to expect for fall 2021. This has been just such a wild year this past year, and however many months it's been, and something that I think all of us have really seen is how quickly things can change and how dramatically. So I mentioned that to recognize, well, for one thing, we know that you've had probably a very bizarre year in many ways. And for so many, it's been such a challenging year. And so I really applaud each and every one of you for, despite such a challenging year, being here now today. I know everyone's had a variety of challenges that we've overcome this past year, but I'm grateful that you've each found your way to UC Davis, to our department, to our webinar this morning. Also, I say this because, there's the caveat as we talk about what is being planned for fall, that this is the current plan. Plans do change, however, so it's important to stay current. But currently, what campus is planning is to have most classes be in person in the fall. There may be some limited offerings that are happening remotely online, but for the most part, campus is planning to be back in person. Masks are likely to be required in instructional settings. So students, sitting in a lecture hall or a discussion will probably be required to wear masks. Vaccines, I wrote this slide yesterday, likely to be required. I believe there was an announcement that came out last night about the UC system moving forward with requiring masks, or excuse me, not masks, but vaccines. Which just goes to show how quickly things can change from one day to the next. But the bottom line is that it does look like vaccines are going to be required. I know this is just a very broad overview of kind of what to expect in fall. The UC Davis Campus Ready website has extensive information and lots of details, and it's updated all the time. It seems like it's often getting updated daily as things are evolving. So that link is here. So go ahead and check that out if you have questions about what to expect for classes or masks or vaccines or testing requirements, anything related to COVID-19 and what campus is doing and what's required, you can find on that website. It's also really important to make sure that you are checking your UC Davis email account regularly. That is how departments on campus communicate really important information. The chancellor has been sending out weekly updates every Friday, which have been really helpful. Those go to UC Davis email accounts. It's also how pretty much every other department will send out important information. That's how we will send out information. It's how the college advising team will send out information, financial aid, student accounting, student housing, information about course registration, all of that's going to UC Davis email accounts. So it looks like most folks have set up their UC Davis email accounts, which is awesome. If you haven't yet, this is a good time to set that up and just make sure you get in the practice of checking it regularly or setting up some kind of a forward system so it goes to an account that you check regularly. Also, just so you all know, we will have time for questions later on. So if you have questions, you can add them to the chat and we'll keep a list of those questions to cover. Okay, so as you may have gathered from our introductory slide, we have several different majors within our group here. So we wanted to do a quick overview of our departments. So coming in at the largest major within the College of Letters and Science, and I believe the largest major on campus, we have psychology, which as of spring quarter, just like a couple weeks ago, had 2,358 undergraduate students, and about 117 grad students and about 68 faculty and lecturers. And I mentioned the grad students in part because some of you may be considering grad school, and also because the grad students in each of these majors are people that you might be meeting as you're taking classes with discussion sections. So usually at UC Davis, the way classes work is that lectures are typically taught by faculty or instructors, and then discussions are a smaller group. So your lecture might have 40 students. It might have 300 students if you're taking like a lower division, very large class. But then you'll often have these discussion sections where you can discuss the material in a smaller group setting, often led by one of our fabulous grad students. Then we have cognitive science, which is a fairly new major. It's been around for what, I think 5 years now, but it's been rapidly growing, very popular. And that has currently about 624 undergraduate students and about 30 faculty and lecturers. And the faculty in cognitive science come from a variety of different departments on campus. Some of our cognitive science faculty are also working with psychology or philosophy or linguistics or communication. Cognitive science is especially interdisciplinary in its approach and its faculty. In philosophy, we have a little over 200 undergraduates, 36 grad students, 17 faculty and lecturers. And also a little on the smaller side, but very mighty nonetheless, is our science and technology studies major, which has just over 40 undergrads, about 23 grad students, and then 16 faculty and lecturers. It's smaller, but a very active department with faculty who really, really love connecting with students. I would say that that's true for all of our departments. I think we're extra lucky with having faculty who really are vested in working with undergrads and helping support you in your interests. So I say this to kind of contextualize for your major, kind of who else is in the major. And I also say this because I know sometimes you may have had this experience already, or you might have it in the future, or maybe you try to make an appointment with us and none are available. And so I mention this just to show that we do have about 3,200 students in total. And our advising team is fabulous. But it's a lot of folks. And so if you are having a hard time getting through, just keep trying. I promise you will be able to get through to us. We do really, really want to support you. Collectively, we're called the Yellow Cluster. And that's our sun symbol at the bottom. So you might see that name, Yellow Cluster, on our website. You might see it on different emails. You might see it on some of our social media accounts. So I just want to mention that so you're not wondering, like, what is this Yellow Cluster and why are they contacting me? That's us. We're the Yellow Cluster. Okay, so we wanted to also do another poll to see what major are you planning to pursue? And I guess we should have added another one here. I didn't think about this. So if you're planning to switch majors, which is also totally fine. I promise we won't take it personally. So far, the results are looking like pretty much what I would expect based on our overview of our departments. Okay, 90% voted. I think we can go ahead and share the results, Jillian. So it looks like we have, a pretty representative sample here with us today. So we will be talking a little bit about each major, and feel free to share your questions about each major as well. And then I know this is a group setting. We'll do our best to get to everyone's questions. If there are questions that are unaddressed during today's webinar, we'll also have one-on-one advising with each of you. So rest assured, your questions will be answered. Well, welcome all. Okay, so even within each of these majors, there are choices you get to make, ways you can customize your degree and kind of specialize it based on your interests, based on your career goals. And so we'll just kind of do this brief overview right now, and there will be lots of time for delving into more in detail later. But we have, within the psychology major, a couple different degree types. We have the Bachelor of Science and the Bachelor of Arts, which at UC Davis is called either a BS if you're Bachelor of Science or an AB if you're Bachelor of Arts. I know it's confusing. Some schools do a BA, Bachelor of Arts. We use the Latin word, which is, oh gosh, what is it?
Baccalaureate.
Say that again, Stacy.
Artium baccalaureate.
Yes. You passed the pop quiz with flying colors. So yes, so fun fact, that's why we have the A listed before the B, because it's Latin. So in psychology, you can choose to do just kind of a general emphasis where you get to take a smattering of classes from all of our different kind of areas of focus. AB degrees tend to have slightly fewer units required for the major. So especially if you're looking at some double majors and maybe you're looking at another major that has a lot of units, or you just kind of have this more general interest and you want to sample a lot of things, a Bachelor of Arts might be a really good plan. In psychology, you can also choose a quantitative emphasis, which has more of the kind of math and that type of like quantitative analytical foundation. And that would be a Bachelor of Science degree. And we also have a biology emphasis, which is another Bachelor of Science degree. In cognitive science, we have, once again, a kind of general emphasis that is a Bachelor of Arts. And then we have the two Bachelor of Science emphases, neuroscience, and then also a computational emphasis. And so a lot of the classes that you would take could be the same no matter which emphasis you choose. But then if you're interested in neuroscience, or if you're interested in those more computational skills like programming, statistics, like you might consider that emphasis. In philosophy, all of the emphases are Bachelor of Arts degrees. We have a general emphasis, a pre-medicine emphasis, and also a pre-law emphasis. In science and technology studies, that's a Bachelor of Arts degree. And we have several different kind of tracks that you can choose to pursue. These science and technology studies emphases don't show up on your transcript or your diploma in the way that the other ones do for the other majors, but it's still something you can put on your resume. It's still, that area of expertise that you're developing. So you can focus on law and innovation, health and environment, data and media technologies, and then history and philosophy of science. So for each of these, if it sounds interesting to you, I recommend looking on our website or in the general catalog or in our advising portal online, which we'll show you later. In all of those places, you can find the major requirements, the classes that you would take for each of these majors. And so that's a good way to see, like, if it sounds interesting, look and actually see what the classes involved would be to see if that does sound interesting. And that's a good thing to be doing now, since that would allow you to kind of hit the ground running when you start at UC Davis. Advising team, is there anything I missed about this? Okay, one other thing I guess I'll add is just Bachelor of Science and Bachelor of Arts degrees have different general education requirements slightly. So to graduate, there's a few types of requirements that you need to satisfy. There's the major requirements, which is what we are the experts at for these majors. And then there's also college and university requirements, which are things like overall number of units you need to take, general education to make sure everyone is, getting a well-rounded education, writing requirements, things like that. We're not really the experts at those. That would be something you'd want to talk with the College of Letters and Science about. They have great resources online as well. But I'll just mention that there's slight variations in those requirements depending on if you do a Bachelor of Science or a Bachelor of Arts. So just another thing to be aware of. Okay, so how many folks here are already planning to change your major? I actually can't see hands raised, but the advising team can. Oh, okay, I do see some hands raised. Yeah, so there are so many great majors at UC Davis within our cluster and across the entire campus. Advising team, does anyone remember how many majors there are at UC Davis currently? or incoming transfer students? Some of
Like
you might.
100, I think, right?
I was going to say 100 something.
Yeah, I actually, I don't remember what the number is, but it is a lot of majors. I think that is a safe guess.
Irina says it's 102.
All right, thank you, Irina. Fabulous. So we have literally hundreds of great majors at UC Davis. So if you are interested in changing your major or maybe adding a second major, you can do that. The earliest you can change your major is winter quarter, and that's because you have to have a UC Davis GPA before you can switch. So if you're interested in changing your major, what I encourage you to do is to look up the major requirements and to do that, to do that now. That's a good thing to be doing now. And also see if there are change of major requirements. So some majors have specific requirements about classes you have to take and a GPA that you have to have in those classes in order to declare a major, or other things like some majors require that you have an academic plan for the classes in that major. So that's something that would be probably on the website of different majors. And then you also want to just check to make sure that whatever the major requirements are, that you'll be able to complete those major requirements in, whatever is a reasonable amount of time for you, time in units. So the place you change your major is called OASIS. Now that is the online advising student information system. It's like our online advising portal. You can get there at students.ucdavis.edu. And we'll talk a little bit more about OASIS later, but it's a really fantastic resource that I definitely encourage you to explore as you have a chance. One other thing I'll mention, for those of you who are here, who are in psychology and cognitive science, during the admissions process, you all were admitted to Davis as a Bachelor of Science degree by default. If you would like to switch to a Bachelor of Arts degree, you may do so. And you would wait for winter quarter to do that. And in the meantime, regardless of what your declared major is, you can take classes for whatever area you're interested in. Just make sure that you've satisfied the prerequisites. So we've talked about majors. There's also a lot of great minors, and minors require fewer units than a major. A major is usually 80 to 90 some units. And then a minor is usually about 20 units. And most classes at Davis are 4-unit classes. So a 20-unit major would be about 5 classes, maybe some prerequisite classes as well. So we have minors in psychology, although I'm sad to say all you psych majors here, you cannot minor in psychology if you're also majoring in psychology. But for the rest of you here, if you're interested in psychology and you're majoring in something else, you could consider a minor. The Department of Philosophy has a minor, and they also have a philosophy minor with a logic emphasis. And then the Science and Technology Studies department has a minor that is called the History and Philosophy of Science. So minors are great if you're interested in kind of one of these areas. There's lots of other minors on campus. Just kind of a way of maybe not taking as many classes as you would if you were double majoring, but still kind of getting that breadth and that depth of information. So I know a burning question that a lot of folks have is, what am I going to take in fall quarter? Like, how do I register? What classes do I take? So we'll talk a little bit about how to plan your fall quarter class schedule. And you have time to plan this out before registration. And this is also something we'll talk about during our individual advising appointments, but it's good to think about it before your individual advising appointment so that you can kind of come in with an idea, and with the advisor, you can talk through it and maybe make modifications or use that time really well. So there was a study done at UC Davis a couple of years ago looking at the number of units that new students took in their first quarter and how well students did. And they found that students who took 15 units tended to be most successful. So that's a general recommendation, is to take about 15 units, but really anything from 12 units, which is the minimum to be a full-time student, to maybe 16 units is just great in fall quarter. So, think about how busy you want to be, how busy you're going to be. Are you really wanting to focus and able to focus on classes mostly? Or do you want to be having some time for jobs or internships or other things, or getting involved in student organizations? If you have these other time commitments, you might consider erring on the side of fewer units, closer to 12. It's really, there are so many variables that play into that, and it's so specific to each of you, and that's something you can talk about with your advisor during individual appointments. So generally speaking, 2 classes each quarter should be for each of your majors. So if you're a psychology major, taking 2 classes in psychology is probably a great plan. And then the rest of your classes can satisfy other requirements. If you're doing a minor, you can take classes for your minor. If you're doing a double major, you could take classes for your double major. You could take general education courses if you still have some general education requirements to satisfy. Writing courses if you have writing requirements to satisfy. Or every single student at Davis has to take a certain number of units total, as well as upper division. And so you might be in a position where you're just taking a class that you think sounds interesting, like something you'd like to take and spend your time on, that will be counting towards those unit totals. So balance is really key, and students generally do much better with a balanced schedule instead of taking all really technical STEM classes. Not to say there aren't those few folks where that might work, but generally after advising thousands of students, this is what we found works best for most people. So there's an example schedule on here. And this example is kind of written for an incoming psych transfer student who's already taken research methods, which at Davis is called Psych 41. So we have Psych 100, Intro to Cognitive Psychology, and Psych 140, Developmental Psychology. Those would be the 2 major classes. And then we have another couple of classes, a writing class, which would satisfy the upper division writing requirement. And then this person decided to take Language and Society, Linguistics 6. And that for this student would be counting towards their 180 units requirement. And that's how many units people in the College of Letters and Science need to graduate. This person could also take 3 of those classes instead of 4, but this is just kind of a sample schedule showing you, that it's good to take a variety of different things. And then here we have some calculations. How many of you have heard of the Carnegie rule? Advising team, I know you know. So the Carnegie rule is kind of how UC Davis bases our unit counts. And it means that for every 1 unit, there's about 3 hours of work associated with that class per week. And so for a 4-unit class, it's probably going to be about 12 hours a week spent on that class. And of course, this is just a guideline kind of, and it depends on the person in the class. So you may take a 4-unit class where you're spending way more than 12 hours a week, or you may take a 4-unit class where maybe it's similar to something you've taken and maybe it doesn't take you quite as much time, but this is a good way to kind of budget your time. So in this schedule, taking 16 units, that would be 48 hours of work on this schedule for academics a week. So good to think about as you're thinking about how to balance work commitments and school and family, internships, research, anything that you have on your plate. And we always say it's good to keep in mind the big picture. So, you know, all of you who are here, we know that you are, you know, you've done very well in your classes. You've been organized, you've been on top of things. You maybe, you know, you're very driven, you're doing really well. And something, especially for new transfer students, that we always want to remind you of is don't try to take on too much, especially during your first quarter. Keep in mind the big picture. You don't have to take all classes for your major, and we promise you, you won't be behind if you take some non-major classes. And that's where this kind of big picture comes into play. As I mentioned, all students in the College of Letters and Science need these 180 units to graduate. And you can take up to 225 max. So you do have some classes that you'll surely take outside of your major and outside of your transfer coursework. So, you know, transfer coursework, you can have, what is it, up to 105 units still. And then you need the upper division units, about 64. So even if you're coming in with the max number of transfer units and then taking those 64 upper division units, you still are going to have some units that you're required to take, you know, anywhere maybe from 11 to 26 in order to hit that unit count. So those can be those fun units where it's a class that you're just excited to take. Summarizing, a successful fall quarter schedule is all about balance. Here's kind of a general outline, less specific than our previous example, but, you know, like major classes, maybe a minor class or for another major, and then some other fun class. And I promise you, this is coming from looking at data and advising lots and lots of students. So as we're talking about building a successful fall quarter schedule, something that we wanted to ask you all about is if you're transferring from a semester school or from a quarter school. And we have a poll for that. Okay. I think we can go ahead and share the results. So this is pretty typical. Most years we have mostly folks transferring in from semester schools with, you know, a few from quarter schools. So every year we always say it's really different being at a quarter institution than it is being on a semester system. It moves much faster. And so we have every confidence that you've figured out what works for you in a semester system. And we want to be able to help you to be successful as you switch to a quarter system. It is more challenging than a lot of people think. And you may be totally fine with the transition, but it is a transition that a lot of people do struggle with. And so we want to be very real about thinking about your time commitments. So I know we're talking about that a lot, but it's because it's something that is challenging for a lot of folks. I don't know, on the advising team, is there anyone who's been on a semester system and a quarter system who wants to speak about that experience?
I was a transfer student from a semester school. So yeah, the first quarter is rough. It's really weird. But then you get used to it. Like winter quarter will be much better than fall quarter, I promise. Yeah, but that first quarter is going to be rocky.
Yeah, same. I was a transfer student too, came from semester system and then went to a quarter system. Week 3, I had a midterm. Like it goes really, really quickly. But some people really thrive in the quarter system, and also some people like it better. I mean, like I have friends that like the quarter system because they get to take more classes. Within 1 year, they get to take 3 quarters worth of classes versus just 2 semesters. So, and also if there's like a instructor you really don't vibe with, you know, it's over in 10 weeks and you don't have to keep taking that class for another month and a half. So,
Very true.
but you can do it. There's lots of resources on campus. As you can see from that poll, it's super common. This is, you're in good company with other transfer students. So find your fellow transfer students as a support network and you'll be great.
And there is a transfer, they changed the name. There's a transfer center that they didn't have when I transferred in, and it's specifically to help transfer students adapt. So definitely take advantage of that.
I too have been at quarter and semester schools. And I echo from personal experience and from advising students that the semester system is a very different pace. And so if you are feeling like it's really overwhelmingly fast, and you may feel that way or you may not, both are totally normal. But if you do feel that way, keep in mind that is an experience that's shared by many. It doesn't mean that you're not super smart and super hardworking and super belonging here. You do belong here, I promise. We do such an extensive admissions process. Each and every one of you belongs here, and we have total faith that you will be successful. And we want to provide you that support so that you're able to be successful in meeting your goals. And sometimes it takes, a while to get your feet under you. So just a few resources. We'll actually be doing a little demo of this website in just a little bit, but this is the teaser to whet your appetite. We have a lot of really fantastic resources on our website. This is, there it is, Yellow Cluster Administration. That's us. So for all of you in our different majors, we have major requirements on our website. We have information about figuring out your transfer course credit. We have more sample schedules. So, we showed that kind of one sample schedule. There are additional schedules on the website. There's information about placement exams if that's something that's relevant to you. So again, Stacy is going to lead us through a little demo in just a few minutes. But I know that there's a lot of information we're going over right now, and rest assured that information is on this website. So in a week or two or a month, if you're trying to remember or figure things out, you can always look at our website, and there's lots of fantastic information there. So kind of zooming back out, I know we've talked about academic advising a little bit, and we've alluded to like, we're the experts at major requirements, and then there are these other experts at the college and university requirements. I want to talk about that a little bit more because this is another adjustment for a lot of people, how decentralized advising is at UC Davis. There's not like, one place you can go for advising for all of your different requirements. And that's because there are so many different requirements and options and opportunities. There's a lot of information. And so we each are experts at, just one slice of this really big pie. So we are your major advisors. You also might have other major advisors if you add another major or switch majors. But we are really the experts at your major requirements or minor, if you are doing a minor in our areas, and various recommendations for those majors and minors. We can help you to select your major classes and help navigate the minors in our departments. We also have our College of Letters and Science advisors. They are a separate advising office from us, though we do work with them very closely, and they are the experts at those college and university requirements. So generally speaking, if there's a requirement that's not a major requirement, it's probably something that falls under the College of Letters and Science advising specialty. And so if you come to us with questions about college and university requirements, like, what GE classes do I need? Have I satisfied my GE requirements? Am I done with my writing requirement? Am I done with my foreign language requirement? Do I have a foreign language requirement? We will direct you to those experts who can give you the best information about that. It's not that we don't want to be able to answer those questions and help you. It's because we really just are not the best people to ask. And we want to make sure that you're getting the correct and full information. And so that would be coming from the College of Letters and Science advising team. They are also people who can help if you need to or want to drop a class after the drop deadline. So for most classes, you have, at least in our majors, the first 20 days of the quarter to drop on your own. Some classes you only have 10 days to drop. So when you register for a class, you can see if it's a 10-day or a 20-day drop. So just be aware of that. But if you do take, let's say, 16 units, and then you decide, oh, this is more than I want to be taking this quarter, I want to drop a class, you can do that yourself prior to the drop deadline. But then if something happens, midway through the quarter, something unexpected, some kind of a crisis or something where you're now wanting to drop a class after the deadline, the College of Letters and Science advisors can help with that. That's a question that we often get, so we just include that right here. And then for your major advisors, that's us here. You have a kind of an assigned major advisor based on your last name. That doesn't mean you have to go to the person who's matched with your last name. You can go to any of us, but that is sort of your pre-assigned person. So if you're able to meet with that person, that's wonderful. You can get to know them. But if their schedule doesn't mesh with yours, you can meet with someone else too. Or you might meet one of us and think, oh, I want to meet with that person again. That's totally fine. But Stacy generally is the primary advisor for students with the last names A through FLO. And because we have a lot of students, we have to go out three letters. And then Alyssa is the primary major advisor for the students with last names FLP through LEC. Rachel, as you can see, is the primary major advisor for students with last names LED through RIO. And then Jillian is the primary major advisor for students with last names from RIP through Z. So those are kind of your primary default advisors, but again, you can meet with any of us. Now, their academic advising calendars do fill up super quickly, and so we also have drop-in advising. So if you have a quick question, especially during the academic year, right now you really want those appointments so we have longer to talk. But for quick questions, like maybe 5 to 15 minutes, you can always come to drop-in advising, which doesn't require an appointment. You don't have to schedule it in advance. And on our website, we list our drop-in advising hours each week. And Kristen is fabulous and really leads our drop-in advising efforts. So that's great if you need a question answered quickly and there are no advising appointments available. I also do some academic advising, though not as much as our other fabulous advisors, but I will be getting to meet with some of you during transfer orientation. I know I have appointments with some of you already. So it's a part of my job that I really love and I look forward to. I'm just not as available as the other advisors for regular advising, but I love doing it whenever I can. And I mentioned at the beginning that we have peer advisors. Our peer advisors are extensively trained. We spend hours and hours and hours on training with our peers. So they are also experts at our major requirements and recommendations. And they have the added bonus of having that student perspective about classes. So they can share with you their own perspectives and experiences with a lot of these classes. They're a really fantastic additional layer of support, and we wouldn't be able to operate without them. So yeah, they're a great student perspective and can help with academic planning. Like if you're wanting to put together like a 2-year plan or a graduation plan for your major classes, they're a good first place to start. And then you can always bring that to one of the staff advisors later, but it's usually easier to talk with a peer advisor first. They tend to be more available. They're doing a lot of drop-in advising. They answer a lot of our emails, and then they might be able to answer all of your questions. Awesome. If you still have questions, you can always still meet with a staff advisor as well. So I know we have some peer advisors who are here with us today. I can't actually see you. So one of our other advisors who knows who's here, can you prompt the introductions?
We have Layla and Christina and Irina and Daisy here. So I guess we can go in alpha order. Daisy, do you want to introduce yourself first?
Sure. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I guess I would just do the same introduction as you guys did in the beginning. So my name is Daisy. Pronouns are she, her, they, them. I am from Modesto, Central California, where the cows are at. They smell, but it's okay. What else? Oh, I guess a hobby of mine. I also have a lot of plants. I don't have my camera on right now, but if you see me in drop-in advising, you'll see I have a bunch of plants behind me. And just like Alyssa, like it's just very nice to have plant life behind you and around you. It fills you with a calm energy. What else? I recently graduated. Oh, thank you, Melina. I recently graduated, so I'm just working throughout the summer. But you can always come for me for questions, and I was also a transfer student too. So any concerns or just questions overall, like I can help you, answer them and like help you make the transition as easy as possible. And I think that might be it. I don't know.
Do you have a hobby, Daisy?
Oh yeah. So other than raising plants,
Oh, right, plants. Sorry, you did say that.
I also roller skate. I've been roller skating. It's starting to become really popular again. So I was like, well, might as well get some exercise done.
All right, Irina, are you still here? I know you were having computer issues.
I am still here. Good morning. My name is Irina. My pronouns are she, they, and I'm from Pacifica, California, which is kind of on like it's on the coast. It's in San Francisco Bay Area. It's really pretty, except for in the summer when there's lots of tourists and then it's just annoying. But I love living here. A hobby of mine is I'm a really big horror movie enthusiast, which is quite funny because I am easily terrified. So it's like an adrenaline rush every time. And I also recently graduated like Daisy, and I transferred to Davis 2 years ago from community college. So I'll be here over the summer as well. So if anybody has questions, I guess during drop-in, and that's an opportunity for transfers, I will be there.
All right, Christina.
Hi, I'm Christina. I didn't know if I should turn on my camera, but okay.
You can if
I
you
do
want
that.
to.
I feel like it's like a little less weird. So yeah, my name's Christina. I also just graduated. I was a psych BA major and also a communication major. My pronouns are she or hers, and I'm actually from Stockton, so close to Stacy, and I think it was Stacy, right? You're in Lodi, so it's like close to that. In terms of hobbies, I don't know. I feel like with quarantine, I watched a lot of Netflix, and I got obsessed with like Vampire Diaries. So if anyone's watched that, I know I'm late to the game. It came out in like 2011, but I spent a lot of time like watching that, and I feel like it's a good way to like distress and just like sometimes zone out on something that's not school. But yeah, I will be working over the summer, so I'm super excited if any of you come to drop in.
All right, and then last but not least, Layla.
Hi, I'm Layla. My pronouns are she, her. I'm from LA. I'm a psych and African American studies double major, and my hobbies probably are just reading, watching Netflix, and I like baking too.
Fabulous. Thank you. So yes, we have marvelous peer advisors. So I encourage you to come talk to them. Again, this summer is more a focus on like meeting with the staff advisors during the appointments, but especially as we are moving into the academic year, we are here to support you, not just now over the summer, but as you move forward as well. So you are welcome to come talk with the advisors about hobbies or about classes and planning your academics. So they're really fantastic people and a fantastic resource. I know right now we're doing things virtually. We do also have a physical building on campus. We are housed in Young Hall. This is a picture of the outside of Young Hall. And then this is what our main advising office looks like when you arrive. So I know some folks have probably been to campus before and some folks might not have, but just a little teaser, a preview of our advising center in person. We're expecting next year we'll be offering probably a mix of some in-person advising and then still continuing some remote like Zoom advising. We're figuring out what will be the best kind of blend of those two based on, you know, whatever the safety recommendations are when we're starting fall and based on student feedback of what folks would like. But we're anticipating there will be both in-person and remote advising available. Okay, so one thing we wanted to talk about is getting involved, because there's tons of research that shows students who are getting involved, who are more involved during college, tend to do better. So Rachel, could you just walk us through a little bit? These are just a few of the ways to get involved at Davis.
Sure. So we have clubs for each of our majors. Psychology has two main ones. So the undergrad psychology association, which is for everybody. And then Psych-Chi is the National Honor Society. There are requirements to join for that. So there's a GPA requirement and you have to be, you have to have taken, I believe it's 4 upper division psych classes. So you have to wait a little while to join that one. And then we have tons of psych adjacent clubs and mental health related clubs. I don't even know how many there are. There's a lot. So you can join any of those. Cognitive science does have their own cognitive science club. It is kind of small, but very active. And then philosophy has their regular philosophy club for everybody, UPOW, which is philosophically oriented women, and then MAP, which is minorities and philosophy. Yeah, so if you can join any of the clubs, you definitely should get involved in your major. They're fun. And then we are a tier 1 research university, so we do have lots of research opportunities. You can join a faculty member's lab and do research with them if you're a psych or a cognitive science major. We have a full list of labs on our website. And then we also have a virtual lab tour that we did in Professor Brian Trainer's lab area. It's really cool. So you should definitely check that out. We also have internships. So that is different from doing research in that it's usually an off-campus job that you find yourself. And then you can earn credit. It's Psych 192 or yeah, Psych 192 for that. So we have a lot of more social work kind of related jobs that are internships. And then yeah, so that's that. And you can get units for either one of those. And it is helpful to put on your resume. You get lots of really good experience. So if you can do that, it's a really good idea. And then we also have study abroad. The left-hand picture is actually one of our former peer advisors, Megan. She went to, I believe it was Denmark. I might be wrong about that though. So yeah, she spent a whole year abroad and really loved it. There's study abroad for tons of different majors. We have quarter abroad, summer abroad, year abroad. And you can also go abroad, not just with UC Davis, but on the study abroad for all the UCs. So there's many, many different programs that you can do. So definitely check it out. It's the global, somebody help me out here. Global Studies, is that what it's called now? It used to be Study Abroad, but Global
Learning Hub.
Learning Hub, that's it. Yeah, they changed their name recently. So yeah, but study abroad is a great opportunity to go see the world. And you might as well do it while you're young. So yeah, definitely check it out.
Okay, so I know, we've talked about a lot of things. It's probably feeling kind of like information overload. We've talked about academics, some ways of getting involved, advising structure. We just want to kind of include a few helpful resources here. We don't expect you to remember all of this. So here are some places where you can find this information we're talking about. In the yellow cluster, we have a lot of resources here to help you. And then we also will talk about some other campus resources too, including resources for some of the involvement opportunities Rachel just talked about. So in the yellow cluster for psychology, philosophy, cognitive science, and science and technology studies, we offer advising, as we've talked about. We have academic planning sheets to help you, figure out what classes you need for your major and how to go about completing those classes. We have a course equivalency database, which is going to be relevant probably to some of you here. This is sort of like Assist. So, assist.org is fantastic if you're transferring in from a California community college. If you have some other transfer coursework from other institutions, there's not a centralized place like Assist. So each department kind of maintains their own database of what transfer credit you would get if it's from an institution outside the California Community College. So we have that on our website. We have course listings showing when we are expecting to offer classes in our departments. So on our website, we have that information available for psychology classes for next year, for philosophy classes, and we're working on adding the science and technology studies classes as well, so that you can make an academic plan, looking out at the year to come. We have undergraduate research information and study abroad information. But I think the best way to orient you to this, instead of just talking about it, is to do a quick demonstration. And we're going to have Stacy, who's our fabulous web developer, do a little tour of our website.
All right. Hello, folks. So I'm betting that many of you have already seen this before, and you'll see right at actually, let me go back a step. When you go to our new student website, it's yellowcluster.ucdavis.edu/new-students. So you'll see here, there's 3 options. The best ones for you are new transfer students and the FAQ. So I'm going to take a deep dive into the new transfer students resource. So right here in the green box at the top of the page, you'll see that there's an easy link for booking your Aggie advising appointment. If you haven't already done so, this is a requirement. We want you to feel prepared for course registration. Please keep in mind that we just have enough appointments for 1 appointment per new student. So please keep that in mind. If you see that the appointments are all booked up, you can check daily because new slots open every day for 2 weeks into the future. All right. So right off the get-go on this page, you'll see that we offer some steps to get you started in trying to conceptualize what your fall quarter is going to look like. Oh, I almost said semester. So step 1 is get familiar with your major requirements. And there's a link right here that I'm going to click on when I get through these steps to show you more. Step 2 is learn how your transfer credit works. And this could feel like a daunting task, but we do have a lot of resources for this, and that's the second link that's down here. And I'll also click on that and show you a little bit about what that looks like. And then step 3 is review the sample schedules below to help you choose courses for your first quarter. So scrolling down, at the bottom of the page here, we have 2 different sample schedules. So the first one is, I still need some lower division. You'll have an understanding of if you're in that category after you take some time to review your own transfer credit using the resources that we have here. Okay. And then if you have transfer credit that satisfies all of your lower division or preparatory subject matter for your major, then this second sample schedule is going to be a better fit for you. So here's what they look like. It looks a lot like what Melina already presented earlier in the presentation. We even have some links built in to help you understand what your options are. All right, so moving back up on the page, on the right-hand menu side, there are some additional links that are here to serve you in your quest for a good fall schedule. So again, if you have questions about the non-major stuff, your electives that you can take just to meet the 180 graduation requirement that Melina already explained, you know, if you have questions about your IGETC, if you're coming from a California community college, if you just want to see what GE looks like, this is the place for you. We have a robust FAQ. So if you're wondering, what is an elective? Why can't I register for this class? I keep getting an error. What kind of careers can I do with the major that I chose? All of that stuff is actually on the FAQ. It's a really great resource. This next link right here, prerequisites, this takes you to information about what should you expect about prerequisites when you're trying to build your fall schedule. So since we have a lot of psychology students in this Zoom right now, some of you may have research methods that you're coming from your previous institution. And if that's the case, sometimes on your transcript or your transfer credit, it's not coming over exactly as the research methods that UC gave us, which is Psychology 41. And if that's the case, we often do take it, but it is a problem in the registration system where it's not really recognizing that you have it. And so that's one example of why someone might want to click on this link to just see, how do I do what's called a prerequisite petition? Just so that you can get into a class that's saying that you don't have the prerequisite when you know you do. So this next link right here, it says Fall 2020. We're working on the updated list for you right now. So by Monday, it'll be available for Fall 2021. But this is a list of classes that you can peruse to see what your options are outside of your major. So on the sample schedule, I'm going to scroll back down for an example. There's this section that says elective, minor, or seminar. Pick something interesting. So this is outside of your major. We don't want you taking a full load of classes in your major. That's overwhelming. It can be intense. We just want you to take 1 or 2 classes in your major. So what else are you going to take? That's where this extra list comes in. It can be anything that you have the prerequisites for that gives you units to meet 12 units minimum, but we do have some, again, this will be updated by Monday, but it just gives you some idea of, it can literally be anything that interests you. Okay. So lastly, on the right-hand side, there's placement exam information. So if you're expecting to take a language, a chemistry, a math, a computer science, that is something that you may have to take a placement exam for, or you may want to see if maybe what you have is enough to get you into the next course. That would actually be under this transfer credit button that we have here. So let's take a look at these links. Melina, how am I doing on time?
I think pretty well. I think it sounds like most questions or all questions so far in the chat have been answered in the chat. So we should still leave probably a few minutes for any additional questions. Let's see, it's 10:16 now. The event goes till 10:30. So I think you could probably take like another 5 minutes.
Okay.
And then for folks who want to stay after 10:30, that'll be a chance to get to know some other transfer students if you want to stay for that, or the event officially ends at 10:30.
Thanks. All right, so I'm going to click on the major requirements button. So here you'll see you can choose your major. So I'm going to choose philosophy as an example. So there's great information on these major requirements pages that help you to see maybe you're interested in declaring another major, a second major, and doubling. You know, some students have questions about pass no pass policies. And then finally, here's all of the actual course requirements for the major, for each of the emphases in the majors. And then also, if you are interested in one of our minors that you're not already majoring in, there is information about those as well on here. So if we take a look at a major worksheet, okay, so this shows you some of, or all of the classes that you need for a general emphasis in philosophy. And the preparatory subject matter are lower division courses, basically anything that is 001 to 099. And this is what you're looking for on your transfer credit. So do you have something that is equal to philosophy 12 or philosophy 1 or philosophy 22? And you're probably not able to see all of this equivalency in OASIS yet. And so you can utilize assist.org for California community colleges in order to see if you have that transfer credit. And that'll help you see what you have done towards your major already and what you still need. And then the stuff that is what you still need, those are options for fall. Okay. And anytime you see something that just says upper division, pick anything, that means it's anything from 100 to 199. That's upper division. So a lot of flexibility in the philosophy major. Okay. So I'm going to go back to our transfer page. All right, so we just took a look at major requirements. Now let's take a look at this transfer credit resource. So here's an easy jump to for transferring courses, course equivalencies, and course substitutions. Here's some FAQ that's all about transfer credit. And then we even have an article that helps you to read on OASIS what you're seeing for your transfer credit and what that means in terms of UC Davis credit. It may not, your academic record may not be updated in OASIS at this point, but later in the summer, certainly in August, it should be. Okay, so we will be pouring over this information geared towards your situation in Aggie advising. We look forward to meeting you in those appointments, but feel free to poke around on your own right now, do as much as you can before that appointment. It'll make the appointment deeper and broader for you.
Thank you, Stacy. Stacy has put in a lot of work to creating those resources. So we hope they're helpful. And also if there are things that you're looking for that you don't see, let us know. It might be there, but there's a lot of information. So we might be able to direct you to the correct link. Or if there's something that you're looking for that we don't have, that could be an area for us to expand. Stacy's probably thinking, oh no, no more pages.
We got it. We'll get you what you need.
Yes. Okay, let's see. So in addition to our yellow cluster resources, there are so many campus resources, and there's really no way to to narrow it down, there are so many great ones that, might be relevant to your interests, but here are some of the ones that we find ourselves recommending often. So the course catalog we've mentioned, that's like the ultimate source of a list of courses offered at Davis with the course descriptions and the prerequisites, classes that you have to take previously to take that class, degree requirements, although the degree requirements can sometimes be a little less user-friendly or like less easy to navigate compared to some of the resources that we have on our website for our degree requirements. We've mentioned OASIS, the online advising student information system, several times. There you can do degree worksheets, which are basically like interactive lists of major requirements and options where you can fill in classes that you've taken or classes that you're planning to take as you're making sure that you are meeting all of your major requirements. You can also create academic plans in OASIS. Those can be there for your reference, and you can also submit them to your academic advisors if you're looking for feedback. There are GPA tools. Right now, those won't be very exciting for you because there's nothing really in there to play around with for your UC GPA tools. But as you start taking classes and getting some grades, it's a good way of kind of playing around with, if I get this grade in this particular class, what will it do for my overall GPA, that type of thing. We also have the Office of Educational Opportunity and Enrichment Services, OEOES. We really like our acronyms on campus. They have pre-graduate school advising, pre-law advising. They have success coaching. So like if you're struggling with motivation at some point and you're looking for kind of like an accountability partner, someone to help you develop strategies and to be moving forward, that can be a great resource. They also have workshops on time management, learning strategies, that type of thing. The Internship and Career Center is fantastic. They have lots of workshops and events and career fairs where employers will come who are looking to hire people for internships or career jobs. They also have career advisors who meet individually with students and can help explore career options, can help craft a strong cover letter, resume. You probably can't do all those things in one meeting with the career counselor, but they're a really, really great resource. If you're interested in the health professions, we have health professions advising. We have the Student Disability Center. So if you think that you would be eligible to receive extra time on exams or any kind of other accommodation, they would be the office to talk to. Also, if you have concerns about getting the COVID vaccine, which is expected to be required, like for medical reasons, they are the office to talk to. Or if you have concerns about being on campus due to health or safety reasons, again, they would be the correct office. And then we have student health and counseling services. And I just want to point out the counseling services part specifically. There's a lot that goes on in the transition to UC Davis, into a quarter system, into taking upper division coursework. If you are feeling overwhelmed or stressed, or you have some kind of crisis situation that comes up in your life, or you are just feeling a buildup of things, please use those counseling services. They're here for you. They're free and they're confidential. You can find out more information on the website, but know that that is another resource to support you. For your one-on-one advising appointments, I know some of you have already scheduled those with us, which is fabulous. If you haven't already done so, you can make an appointment with us at appointments.ucdavis.edu. And then we are the advising center, the Psych. PSC is the abbreviation for Psych. Fee, STS, and CGS Advising Center, and then go ahead and schedule that appointment. And that will be—
Just to jump in there, we've gotten several questions in the chat about these appointments. So we have about, I think, 450 incoming students this summer. So as you can imagine, they just opened up on Monday. So, if 450 students are trying to get appointments with only 4 or 5 advisors, they fill up really quickly. So I know it can be frustrating that you're checking and you're not seeing it. Try to check in the morning for the best availability. But yeah, so check in the morning. Each day you will have an appointment. Like if you want an appointment, it's there for you. You might just have to wait a little bit and be a little bit patient with us. But we have slots available for each and every one of you over the summer before you register for classes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you, Jillian. I know it can be frustrating, but we do have plenty of appointments blocked out throughout the summer. So as Jillian and Stacy have mentioned, just keep checking. Most days of the week, there will be more appointments that open up about 2 weeks in advance. If you check on the weekends though, nothing new will be open, since it'll be looking ahead to the next weekend. And we love our work, but we also take the weekends to do our own things, to rejuvenate.
Also interject.
Yeah.
So folks who already have their appointment, you've already met with us. If you have additional questions and you want to meet again, please know that we really are stretched this summer trying to offer each new student one appointment with us. We'll be available again in the future in the fall, but just know that if you do book a second appointment with us this summer, it will probably get canceled, and we'll refer you to drop-in advising, where Kristen and our peer staff are going to be experts at helping you with your follow-up questions. And there's also email.
Yes, thank you, which is perfect segue, Stacy. Here are our email addresses. So feel free to reach out to us here. You can reach out to us via email anytime this summer or next year, or anytime along your academic journey. And like Stacy mentioned, we do have our appointment system set up. So if it's working as it should, each incoming transfer student can sign up for one appointment over the summer. And it's never that we don't want to meet with you more. We would love to. It's that we want to make sure that everybody does have an opportunity to make that appointment. And, we talked about our numbers earlier. Each of our advisors has over 800 students that they're the primary advisor for. So we try to make sure to kind of spread around that availability. And I know it's not enough. We're always advocating for more advising support. So fingers crossed there. But this is really just the first step. We are here to support you, not just during your individual meetings with us over the summer, but moving forward as well. So in winter quarter, we'll actually have another opportunity to meet individually with each of you for mandatory advising. So every major within the College of Letters and Science has mandatory advising each year, which means each year you're at Davis, at least one time in the year, you'll be required to meet with an academic advisor. So as a new transfer student, you'll meet with your major advisors. And in our majors, we have those meetings in winter quarter. And then when you're a senior, you'll have another mandatory advising meeting with us, or maybe not a meeting, but it might be some other kind of mandatory advising requirement. And so that's our way of keeping in touch and helping support folks, because research also shows that students who engage more with their advisors tend to do better. So our theme is really just wanting to support you so you can be successful. So we'll see you this summer for an individual advising appointment for Aggie advising, and then we'll see you again in winter quarter for the mandatory advising. So that's a chance to check in and see how you're doing, how fall quarter went, and help you move forward. And then in the meantime, email, drop-in advising, those are open to you too. Okay, so are there questions that haven't been answered from the chat yet? I'm gonna assume that means questions have been getting answered as we go. I really need like a multiple monitor setup here. Well, that's okay. We can gaze at this cat and fill our hearts with the joy of a nice snuggly kitty. We love pets in our advising office. Several of us have cats or dogs or other pets. So you can always chat with us about your fur babies. We're happy to talk about that. If you think of questions later, go ahead and email or write it down for your advising appointment. So I know our official event was scheduled to go until 10:30. It's 10:30 now. So if you have places you need to be, you're welcome to leave. If you have a few more minutes and you want to stick around, we would love to give you a chance to meet with some other incoming transfer students in a breakout room.
Yeah, we're getting a couple questions, so I just want to answer them really quickly. So someone asked if you're planning to transfer to another major, can you have an appointment with them instead? That'll depend on that department and whether they allow appointments for students that are not currently declared in their majors. So for like our majors, for instance, they are super impacted, so we can't accommodate appointments for students outside of the majors. But other majors that are not quite as impacted may allow that. So I would just send them an email, look up their website for whatever major you're planning to do, and check with them, because that would be a more helpful appointment if you were able to meet with them. Will tomorrow's Zoom meeting be new information? It's going to be the exact same information. You don't need to attend both. We were just giving students options, to fit into their schedule. So you don't have to come to both. We will be posting this recording on our YouTube channel and probably our website. So will it be sent via email, Melina? They're asking.
Yeah, I think we'll send like the link probably via email.
Okay. And then does someone who's interested in clinical psych typically pursue an A, B, or a BS? It really doesn't matter. For clinical psychology, a Bachelor of Arts would meet most of the requirements. A Bachelor of Science in psych is more for if you're wanting to go into a health field. So something like psychiatry, which requires med school, would require the Bachelor of Science. But other than that, a master's in therapy or counseling would just be, Bachelor of Arts would be good. So I think that answers all of them. Do we want to open the breakout rooms now?
Yeah, so if you have other things to do or you're just not feeling the breakout rooms, you're welcome to leave now. You won't be missing any information. The official part of the event, as far as information goes, is now concluded. But if you would like to stick around, we'll be opening breakout rooms with about, what did we decide? About 6 people in each room.
Yeah, but it's hard to assign them when people are leaving. So
yeah, well, I guess if you want to leave, maybe leave now. And if you want to stay, stay for the breakout rooms. And in just a minute, we will open those breakout rooms and we'll give some time, maybe 15 minutes for folks to just kind of introduce one another. So sharing names. If you want to share your pronouns, you can. Hometown, what major you're thinking you'll pursue, and then favorite hobby. And then we have a couple of questions that we wanted to pose to everybody. So what are you most looking forward to about being a UC Davis student? And what's something you're nervous about or not looking forward to? And then if you could take any class, real or imagined, what would it be? And so we would love to give you the chance to be able to chat with one another, because you all will be a really good resource for each other. It's so helpful to have friends, people people who you can message or text or whatever to share information and support moving forward. Oh yeah, I see some kitties have joined us. Stacy and Rachel, I don't know. Can we spotlight them real quick? One last bonus before we go into breakout rooms.
This is Finn. He's my my gentleman cat. The spazzy younger cat is not around right now.
I wasn't lying when we said we like animals in our cluster.
This is Edward. Any chance we get to share our pets in our own meetings, we do.
It's one of the silver linings of doing things on Zoom, right? we get to see each other's pets more. Okay, well, I'm going to assume that the folks who are still here want to participate in the breakout rooms. Jillian, are you going to go ahead and assign those?
They're already assigned and they're open. So feel free to click join on the room that you're assigned to. And that's all good. I accidentally assigned Arena. Arena, you don't have to, you don't have to join. Yeah, so.
Okay.
Is there anyone who's alone in a room? I can't see the breakout rooms.
There's somebody that I reassigned. It's changing very quickly.
Are you able to join the breakout rooms and copy and paste the
yeah
prompts? I don't know.
Yes.
Or maybe.
How do I do that? Okay.
Oh,
yeah. What?
Or I could do it. I don't mind doing it. Whoa. Except I just selected a bunch of the chats.
Yeah, you should just be able to click join when you hover over the room on the right hand side.
You can click broadcast message to all if you click the breakout room function and then just send the message.
Although then it
show the
is
whole
so
thing.
fast. Yeah.
Disappears.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll just join real quick.
I have like such a short attention span. I have to like start 10 different shows at one time.
That's true. Gonna start recording.
Oh,
what?
I guess only if Melina disappears or.
Oh.
Even if I know it's gonna start recording, that voice still makes me jump.
Oh, Melina, you can stop recording.
Yeah, can we cut this part off the recording, please? Yeah.
You still have a